From closed-off cities in the US completely surrounded by federal land, to secret cities with sinister goals. Here are secret cities that prove we don't know what's going on. Number 9. Remenki 43. Also, in case of a nuclear strike, Joseph Stalin built an entire underground city known as Remenki 43. This would serve as protection for Joseph Stalin and his comrades, and could possibly still be in use today. It's located about 10 miles from downtown Moscow, not too far away from Moscow State University. This was also connected to the Metro 2, their underground subway system built for transporting KGB agents. And some believe this was the main reason his secret metro station was built. The people who participated in the construction of the bunker claim it to be a fully functional underground city with enough space to house 15,000 people. The city was about 2 square kilometers, according to an anonymous KGB agent. Imagine living underground without being able to breathe fresh air or see real sunlight. The Russian government has neither confirmed nor denied its existence, and it still remains somewhat of a mystery. Number 8. Alamos 7. Alamos is a ghost town in a remote region of the Aral Sea that is nearly impossible to get to. It's estimated that roughly 1,500 people lived in this isolated city during its peak. No one really had any clue this place existed until the entire Aral Sea completely dried up and when the program was over. It was here where the Soviet Union constructed a top-secret biological warfare weapons testing facility called Alamos 7. It quickly became the epicenter for this horrifying research, but it was originally built as a gulag camp in 1926. They worked with horrifying agents such as anthrax, smallpox, the Black Plague, and probably more. Explore this place on Google Maps and you'll find some eerie ghost towns and abandoned places. Many laboratories were built where crews tested multiple effects of fatal diseases and how to spread them effectively. Little did the researchers know they would become the unwilling test subjects of their own weapons. In 1971, weaponized smallpox was released, infecting 3 staff members. Ruins of this secretive city still litter the ground, and many believe if you search enough, you may come across files of infectious diseases, so watch out. Number 7. Cheyenne Mountain. If the government was looking for a place to hide during the zombie apocalypse, this would be the perfect place. Keep in mind, public tours are not available, and you can't go here. Cheyenne Mountain is often referred to as the Fortress of America. This complex is basically like a small city underneath 2,000 feet of solid granite rock, and is basically the biggest, baddest nuclear bunker ever made. It has its own power plant, space surveillance system, water supply from underground lakes, and who knows what else. The bunker was occasionally alright with people coming in for tours, but all that stopped in 2001. It was built to defend against nuclear blasts from the Soviet Union. Any air, space, or missile threats to America are often detected right here. Some of the blast doors inside the facility are made of 3 feet of solid steel. There really hasn't been too much details revealed about this place that could potentially be turned into an underground city in case of a nuclear apocalypse. Some report that there are at least 350 people inside the base at all time. But who knows for sure what's going on here? Number 6. Camp Century. It seems as though the USA was trying to hide evidence of an under-ice city during the Cold War. But they miserably failed when nuclear waste was beginning to leak into the ice cap. The place known as Camp Century was basically an under-snow city and a complex nuclear launching site with a vast tunnel network in northwestern Greenland. This could send nuclear missiles over the Arctic and into Russia. The project was poorly planned, and they found out that the glacier that it was built in was actually moving quicker than previously thought. The project was abandoned in 1967, but that doesn't mean it shouldn't be taken lightly. The US most likely did this without consulting the Danish about what was going on. This held all kinds of research facilities, a cinema, a hospital, a church, oh yeah, and a nuclear reactor. The Americans thought that all these secrets would remain under the ice for the rest of eternity. Now, due to melting of ice in Greenland, this former city threatens to expose government secrets as well as let off extremely toxic pollutants into the Arctic Sea sometime in the year 2090. Scientists never thought the waste from the reactor would ever get out. Where else could the government possibly be hiding cities? Number 5. Ozyorsk. Located in the Chelyabinsk Oblast region just north of Kazakhstan, Ozyorsk, also known as City 40, is considered to be a closed town due to how close it is to the Mayak plant. This was just one example of an estimated 60 cities and towns in Russia that are closed off to travel from other regions. The goal here was to mainly produce weaponized plutonium for nuclear weapons. The Mayak plant is also a facility that processes nuclear waste and decommissions decaying weapons of mass destruction. No one really knew what the heck was going on here due to the isolation of the region, but word began to spread after a while. Many people who actually live in Ozyorsk will tell you that this place is a paradise. It's surrounded by beautiful lakes, plenty of good food, and a beautiful society lives here. But you can only keep so many cities secret for that long. An explosion took place here that spread a lot of toxic waste into the many lakes and rivers of the Chelyabinsk Oblast region. In a documentary called City 40, a Geiger counter was used to check the produce and proved a lot of things here might actually be radioactive. Number 4. Pyongyang, North Korea. Just because you can technically come here doesn't mean it's not one of the most closed-off cities in the world. A majority of citizens in the capital of North Korea are stuck there and not allowed to travel. Many international flights to Pyongyang are often canceled because there aren't enough passengers. People who have been able to travel from foreign countries are actually closely monitored and are more than likely being recorded in their own hotel rooms. This city has a long history, and the origins of Pyongyang date back to about 1000 BC. But in modern times, many weapons were used against this capital during the Korean War, such as napalm, destroying about 75% of North Korea's capital. It was rebuilt by Kim Il-sung into a secretive capital that we know of today. Technically, the US and South Korea are still at war with North Korea since a peace treaty was never signed. It's also believed that this is the location of Room 39, which is a secretive location in charge of gathering foreign currency. Number 3. Los Alamos, New Mexico. Also known as the birthplace of the atomic bomb, Los Alamos was built during World War II and currently has a population of 12,000 people. At the moment, it's not closed off to the public, but one of the military's most secretive projects allowed for the government to take over the land here and build a city. The government was looking for a remote area to keep everything they were doing top secret, which resulted in them buying out the land. Over 6,000 scientists and support personnel worked here to help design the first atomic bomb as a part of the Manhattan Project. Basically, what began forming here were top secret facilities including bunkers, watchtowers, assembly buildings, and research laboratories to name a few. None of those places are allowed by the tour, and it still remains a fairly secretive city. Not too far away was the testing site where the nuclear test Trinity took place. Here they constructed two infamous atomic bombs, one named Little Boy and one named Fat Man, which were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Not too long after $2 billion in 1940s money was spent here, the war was finally over. Number 2. Paris. Everyone usually puts Paris somewhere on their Euro trip itinerary. But how much do we really know about cette ville romantique? And is it really that romantic once you take a look at some of its history? Not only was it home to one of the most bloodthirsty revolutions, when it comes to Paris, you should really keep in mind that below the ground is often referred to as the Empire of the Dead. It's home to some of the creepiest cemeteries, and in almost all the famous buildings here, there's at least the remains of a few people. Hôtel des Invalides, Le Panthéon, Père Lachaise, and even the Louvre can all get pretty creepy. In any case, in the southern part of Paris in Montparnasse is where you'll find the catacombs. After the collapse of Paris's largest cemetery in the 1600s, they decided to go further underground with their burial techniques, and the catacombs were born. There's an estimated 6 million people buried at the catacombs, which is easily 1 billion bones. One of the worst kept secrets, however, is that on the top of the Eiffel Tower, there's Gustave Eiffel's hidden apartment building. After designing the Eiffel Tower, he realized there's a pretty nice view from the top of this thing, so he went ahead and added a secret apartment. And number 1, Mercury, Nevada. Don't even think about trying to find a real estate agent in this city, because you're not allowed to move here. Let's not forget that Area 51 is just a short drive away from Mercury, Nevada. But if you try to take a road trip here, you will get greeted by some feds. Mercury, Nevada was constructed the National Nevada Security Site during the Cold War in order to house scientists and people who were testing out atomic weapons. This city is still completely closed off to the public, but believe it or not, American Eye was actually able to go here. Any cameras were strictly forbidden, so it was best just not to take photos, or they will feed you to the aliens. There is a group tour you can take with the Nevada National Security Site, which is open to the public, but the only thing you'll get to see in Mercury is the rundown cafeteria hall. Facilities here include a hospital, a theater, post office, and bowling alley. The mysterious buildings that house workers here don't seem to be that much better than some military-style trailer parks, but who knows what they're really keeping inside. The current population is unknown, and it almost seems to be a city that's stuck in the 1960s. It's believed that the population shrank rapidly as nuclear testing on American soil stopped, but there could be roughly 500 scientists still living here.